Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. This is a place where your opinions matter and where hate I will not tolerate. So let's move on to our next case, which is the Patrick Frazee trial, which is just started on last Friday. And they had the pre-trial earlier in the year. And so I'm going to catch you up with what happened in the courtroom on Friday and everything that we learned at pre-trial, so we can follow this case next week. The reason why I am doing these two murderers, like Krystal Watts and Patrick Frazee, is because I need women to see that sometimes there's not any signs by others. That sometimes narcissists and manipulators are good at presenting themselves to the world, and only you are the one that gets that one gut feeling or that one thing that seems a little off. And that's all you're going to get. And so you need to run. Run. Whenever you get that sense that he could really hurt you, or that blackness in their eyes, if you ever see them go blank and you don't recognize the person behind the eyes, it's time to go, you guys. My mother was killed by my stepfather. Shanann was killed by Chris. Kelsey was killed by Patrick Frazee. And a lot of people in these murderers' lives never saw it coming. So you are the one that lives with these people. You are the one that gets up close and personal with them. So whenever you get that fear inside of you that you think that maybe they might even accidentally kill you, it's time to go. Those thoughts are there for a reason. And in every single one of these cases, God rest their souls, there was a red flag. And so just look for red flags, you guys. That's all that I'm asking, is that you just look in your relationships for red flags, because it's not going to get any easier. And these people hide behind masks, and you don't want to meet the person behind that mask. Trust me. So with Patrick, they are trying to say that the woman he killed was a drunk and that she was a child abuser. And so it's crazy how these murderers can blame the victim and somehow make them feel justified for what they have done. Now, he is saying that his mistress did it. And I'm going to tell you everything that came out in pre-trial. And this is why he's saying his mistress did it, because this is his only defense. And so he also has to make the one that is dead here look horrible, because some dirt is brought up in court and he wants them to see her as a villain and him as the hero. And so her mom, the victim's mother, testified in court on Friday. And we do know that she was last seen, his 29-year-old pregnant fiance was last seen with her daughter Kaylee shopping for groceries on Thanksgiving Day last year, 2018, at the Woodland Park supermarket. And that it was believed that she then stopped by Patrick's to drop off their daughter, and instead it was alleged that Patrick murdered her and disposed of the body. Now, I know this is very vague. I'm getting ready to give you all details. His so-called friend, which was his lover and his mistress, they had dated in high school. She already admitted that she loved him since high school and admitted that they had rekindled, and that in the beginning she did not know about Kelsey, his daughter, and Kelsey, his fiance, and Kaylee, his daughter. That's her defense. She is the one that is testifying against him. And it is part of her plea deal. And what she did her part in all of this, she only got charged with tampering with evidence. So she is alleging that Patrick asked her 3 times to help kill his child's mother. And she got this plea deal because of her part in tampering with the evidence. That was the charge that she got, was tampering with evidence. And they gave her a plea deal that if she testified against Patrick, that she would get this plea deal. So she basically got a slap on the wrist. But they actually prosecutors admit that they wouldn't even know where the crime took place or anything had she not given them this information. That they had nothing to go on until she gave up all this information. Now, she told investigators that following the murders, she claimed that he did it with a baseball bat, and that he called her and asked her to come clean up the piles of blood and dispose of the evidence at the murder scene. Krystal and Patrick had once stated, and she admits to the investigators, that they watched the body burn together on the farm. Prosecutors obtained records from DHS, the Department of Human Services, in court on Friday, and they talk about Patrick claiming to them that Kelsey abused their daughter, and that the records state that he confided in Krystal about the abuse, and he added that he needed to get rid of Kelsey so she could not hurt their daughter. And the victim's parents believe that his motive to murder their daughter was to obtain custody of Kaylee. But the trial is underway right now, and prosecutors have not offered up the motive. And it will continue this week. And her body has not yet been found still to this day, but she is presumed dead, and they searched a landfill for 2 months of where they thought that she was, and that it came up with nothing. And he's being charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of solicitation of murder. And if he is found guilty, he will be sentenced to life without parole. Now, Patrick is a horse trainer, and he pled not guilty. And the jury of 7 women and 5 men gathered for opening statements on Friday, November 2019. It is to be a 3-week trial. Him and the victim supposedly met online in 2016, him and Kelsey. And after they got close, she moved to Colorado from Washington, and then their child was born. Sorry, I'm drinking hot tea, and it always makes my nose run. So, allegedly, back in September of 2018, he told his ex, Krystal, about Kelsey burning Kaylee. And he asked her and other people to keep an eye on her. And he asked Krystal, who was a nurse and an rodeo queen, to help with taking care of this, or an innocent was going to be harmed, meaning that she was going to harm their child if she didn't help him take care of this. Kelsey's mom, Sherilyn, took the stand on Friday, and she admits that Patrick's mom never liked Kelsey. She insinuated that she was a hooker because she worked late hours as a flight instructor. Oh my gosh. What is up with the crazy moms with these psychopaths? Her mom states that Patrick's mom was livid when Kelsey got pregnant and threw her out of her home, what they call the farm. She was forced to move in with a roommate, and she stated that her mom stated that she actually met these people herself, the Frazees, at her granddaughter's birth and at her first birthday, and that Patrick and Kelsey did not live together from the birth of the baby. And it says that the last time she spoke to her daughter was the morning of Thanksgiving. she called her to ask her about a recipe because she was going to cook Thanksgiving for Patrick. Kelsey was. And so she wanted her mom to give her some ingredients to a recipe. And so then she went to the store to get the stuff. And her mom says that the call was cut short so she could tend to the baby. And that she called her again and there was no answer. Just a text saying that she will call her later, and she never did call. Now, because the girlfriend admits to sending text out from the phone as Kelsey, we don't know if Kelsey was alive and sent that text to her mom or if it was the girlfriend texting. But it probably was Kelsey because from what I've gathered, the girlfriend didn't get the phone until a day and a half later of the murders. So it makes more sense that it was Kelsey. She was just busy. She was probably going into the store. But her mom didn't get to talk to her because after that is when she was murdered. Her mom said that Kelsey made cinnamon buns and they were found on the stove, that she liked to eat them with honey. And she was just recently trying to work less hours as a flight instructor so she could spend more time with Kaylee. The day she disappeared, Patrick calls Krystal Lee 46 times and calls to look for Kelsey 0. He calls Kelsey's mom to inform her that she moved out. She says on December 6th, she found Kelsey's blood, her mom did, on the underside of the toilet at her Woodland Park residence. And what had happened is after a while, by the time she came up missing on Thanksgiving. So by December, her mom and her brother are frantic, wanting to know what happened to her. So they moved to Colorado and they move into her apartment. And her brother looks over the bathroom the first time and doesn't see any blood. But when they go in there 2 days later, they find blood underneath the toilet. And so there was never luminol used in there because they never thought it looked like a crime scene because it had been cleaned up so well. And so then the cops come back because they call them out and say there's blood under the toilet and all hell breaks loose. It was overlooked by Krystal supposedly while she was cleaning because Patrick Frazee called Krystal and told her to come clean up the mess after he bludgeoned his wife with a baseball bat. And we're getting ready to get to that. So the canines even missed it on December 4th when they came out. So on December 6th, the blood was found and they brought out the luminol. She also speaks of her daughter talking about a weird coffee she was gifted before her death. And Krystal admits to gifting her this after being instructed to poison it by Patrick, which she did not. She states her daughter would never harm Haley and even had her in a clinic for a mineral deficiency. The grandmother, which is Kelsey's mom, and the mother returns to the stand on Monday. She has custody of Kaylee, thank God. And it's alleged that Patrick had Krystal come from Idaho on 3 separate occasions to have her murdered, Kelsey. And it was September 23rd he wanted her to come, October 15th, and October 21st. All 3 times he wanted her to murder Kelsey. The first time he asked her to poison her in her Starbucks. And so she literally knocked on her door, went to this other woman's house that was Patrick's baby mama, and went over there and gifted her a caramel macchiato. And no wonder that Kelsey thought it was weird and told her mom about it. What would you do if some lady knocked on your door and said, I have a coffee for you? I'd automatically think it was poisoned. So he got mad that she didn't poison it, and he wanted her to poison it because she was a nurse and he knew that she had access to like fentanyl and all these like deadly drugs. And so she didn't do it, she says. And had her come back on October, let's see, what days was it? The 15th, and gave her a pipe to do it. He said to beat her with. Then the third and final attempt, which was October 21st, he told her to use a bat. And on October 21st, he told her to beat her outside of her home, just start swinging on her, and then toss the body in the dumpster. These men are horrible. She says that she never complied and told him the third time that she could not do it. He allegedly, this is how Krystal finally tells investigators everything that happened. So this is what Krystal is saying that Patrick did. This might give you guys some light on the situation if you don't know this already. And you may already know this because this came out in Pretrial, I believe. But he allegedly blindfolds Kelsey and asks her to smell a mystery candle. And then he bashes her head with the baseball bat. And Patrick says that she was crazy and had a drinking problem. That's what he's telling people in court. And the mistress only got charged with 1 count of tampering with evidence. And Patrick calmly eats Thanksgiving with his family after murdering his fiancée. And then he calls Krystal to clean up the mess. And Krystal said that she left blood on purpose for the cops to find. But she is the one that sent the fake text from Kelsey's phone to throw the police off. She is just as guilty as him in my eyes. Krystal says that Patrick put Kelsey in a black tote and told her to drive out that day. And she said that she couldn't come that day, which was Thanksgiving, and that she came the next day. So it was a day and a half later that she got to the scene. And he just left it like that. He removed the body and he left the blood everywhere. I mean, this guy was brave and cocky. And she said that she walked into a massacre scene and she left evidence behind on purpose. Now remember, the brother went in the first time and he didn't see any blood. So she had to clean it up good enough to not be able to be seen by the naked eye. And it was underneath the toilet that she missed. And there's been plenty of times that I have missed underneath the toilet cleaning. I don't anymore, but once I realized that I was missing under the toilet, I started paying attention. And the information I found out shows that the mistress, Krystal, was a 2008 Magic Valley Stampede queen. And Kelsey had just bought her own townhome. And she was last seen on footage, like I said, at that grocery store on video, buying ingredients to make him Thanksgiving. Blood was found when they brought the luminol to check the apartment, there was blood everywhere. When the luminol got brought out, you could see blood spatter everywhere. Blood was found on the towel rack, the vanity, outside of the tub, on the wall, by the toilet, the bathroom mirror. It was definitely Kelsey's after it was tested. And it was the luminol that busted him. The blood was all throughout the townhome, and she was murdered with her daughter in the home, you guys. Krystal was told in detail by Patrick what took place. The mistress actually knocked on Kelsey's door and delivered that coffee in person and spoke to her. That took some balls. Patrick thought since she was a nurse, like I said, she could get a hold of something lethal. And research shows that bleach does not get rid of blood, you guys. There is a certain chemical, a certain acid, and I won't say it here because I don't want to give anybody information, but there is a certain acid that you can get at Lowe's that will get out. It is the only thing that will get rid of blood or DNA. But it takes an acid. So all you people out there thinking you can clean up your tracks with bleach, you're idiots. When they first searched the home, they found nothing, but the cadaver dog did hit on a car outside of the apartment. It was on the backside of a car, but remember, they didn't find anything in the apartment, so they didn't think that that had anything to do with what, happened to her, because they didn't know that the apartment was a crime scene when the cadaver dog tapped on the back of a car, and he could have leaned up against the car, or the tote could have hit the car, brushed up against the car when he was putting it in the trunk. Who knows? Let's see, where was I? Patrick thought since she was, when they first searched, I keep saying the same thing. I'm so sorry. The mistress admits to them rekindling and being with Patrick after the murders, you guys. Even having sex with him after she physically knows in her mind that he murdered his wife, she has sex with him. Patrick leaves the apartment bloody and takes the body out in a black tote, and he stores it until Krystal gets there a day and a half later. Krystal says she has been in love with Patrick since high school, and she says that she did not know about Kaylee or Kelsey and when they started dating again. And the prosecutor said that they have nothing without her testimony, and since she abandoned the murder 3 times, that's why she's not being held responsible. The mom and brother, again, like I told you, they moved into the apartment, and so that's when they found the blood. And Krystal says that they burned the body. The DA says that Frazee's mother was actually home on the farm the day of the burning while they burned the body on a haystack. And she pled, I wanted to say pleaded, I don't know why. She pled the 5th at pretrial and did not testify. I don't know why I can't talk. The second time he asked her to murder his wife or his fiance, he gave her a metal pipe and told her it's not that hard. And Krystal said she got it. The third time he told her to do it with a bat, and she actually got a bat from her home, drove to Colorado, but she chickened out, and he got super pissed off and said, "If you won't do it, I guess I will have to." And lastly, to catch you guys up, Krystal went as far as buying a chemical suit, a hairnet, and booties to help keep the bodily fluids from touching her body while she was cleaning up the townhome. She also bought trash bags, bleach, and a box of gloves. Doesn't really sound like somebody that abandoned anything. And she says that the blood was on the walls and even on Kaylee's toys. The fact that he did this to her while their daughter was home, it just says, women, if you have kids and you are getting a bad vibe from your man, it is better to lose out on love than to end up dead. Thank you so much for watching my channel, and I will talk to you guys more about this next week. Bye.